Did you have a message you want to bring today?
Yeah, you know what it is I'm standing for Israel, yeah? Now, born Salford, so this is my home turf basically, but the family on my mum's side is Jewish. My grandmother was a Romanian Jew, so she was more darker, complex olive skin, so she was Sephardi. My DNA goes right to Israel from my mother's ancestry, so I've got Iraq, I've got Yemen, I've got Israel. You know, I'm even connected to the non-Jewish people out in Israel, which are the Bedouin tribe, and the Druids, which the Druids, they claim to be descendant from Moses' father-in-law. And when they went to war against the Ottoman Empire, which also was a Muslim empire, but was European as well, because Turkey's in Europe as well, they fought against the Ottoman Empire, and the Ottoman Empire called them Druid, meaning ultimate thug. That was 500 years ago, because they didn't want to obey to the Ottoman Sultan's rule, you know what I'm saying? So my message amongst all this, to be a rebel, to say, you know what, this is society here, a man can't come out and support Israel without getting the police in his face. My message is, this is England, this is Morocco, and we'll support Israel all the way.
Palestine! 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 1, 2, 3, 4! Occupation no more! 1, 2, 3, 4! Occupation no more!
5, 6, 7, 8!
Israel is a terrorist state!
5, 6, 7, 8!
Israel is a terrorist state!
BBC! Okay, so we've a tremendous banner here. I think, is this Sheikh Jarrah we've got at the front here? Or bombing? No, it's a Gaza under attack. Who would like to come up? We need 3, 4 people to volunteer to hold this banner. Have we got any volunteers to come and hold this banner? Anybody with a free hand? That's very disappointing. Yes, 1 volunteer, thank you. Yes, another volunteer, thank you. Let's give a round of applause for the volunteers who are going to hold this banner up. Thank you. Now guys, do you want to get your second prize banner up? What's this banner say? Is anybody going to give me a clue? I've got a lovely placard here. Israeli Zionists implementing apartheid.
Just come over here a second. Just come over here. Hey. Come here a second. So, like I said to you, obviously the police officers that were here had some concerns for what was going to go on.
Okay.
I think they were more worried about your safety. So that's why we've took you over here to have a chat with you.
All right then, okay.
The last thing we want...
I'm making a mark and then I'll go in the peace. Look, I'm Mr. English here, as a professional boxer here, and I'm the only man to walk out to St. George's flag with a surname English born in Salford. Right. But my grandmother was Jewish on my mum's side, you know what I'm saying? So I have the right.
And like you said, everyone has a right to protest. However, what you've got to think about is the safety of yourself.
Yeah.
And if you're walking into a crowd of opposition, someone who is protesting for a different cause than you put yourself at a certain risk, don't you?
Yeah, but as long as we have a right to be humble and we have that right to stand.
Equally, we have a duty of care towards you, don't we?
I understand you.
I don't want you going into that crowd and getting beaten up. I don't want any offences to be committed towards you. I don't want any offences to be committed towards them. Do you see what I mean?
You know what? I'll shake your hand. You know what? I understand. Okay. Yeah. You know what?
If you want to carry on protesting, that's your right.
I'll stay for a few minutes and I'll get going. Brilliant. I understand what you're saying.
I will. Will you just do me a favour?
Yeah.
Will you just stay this side?
I will.
Come on, BBC, hear us. From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free!
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free!
Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming today. We honestly really appreciate it. So thank you all for joining us. We are the Manchester Youth for Palestine. We're a small group of young women who attended the previous protest in Manchester, and we decided we wanted to be more involved. During the previous protests, we noticed that a large portion of the crowd was actually made up of young people, including toddlers, children and young adults. This group of people had very high energy, they had loud voices, and they were really grabbing the attention of Manchester. These people inspired us, and we wanted to increase their presence in these protests, as we feel that the youth hold a lot of power, they hold a lot of energy, and also we are the next generation. like I said, we hold a lot of power, we just need to know how to use it.
I've been to Palestine twice, in 2006 and 2019. I saw what it was like with the checkpoints and the poverty and the lack of water. I've travelled the length of West Bank, so it's everywhere. In fact, one of the Bedouin villages that we stayed in, one of the camps, has now been demolished. So they've had to move on, a whole family with their goat herds and everything. It's appalling.
I'm here to protest against Israel's unjust actions against the Palestinian people, and it's the fact that we need to stand up and show up in numbers to show everyone that killing children is wrong. That's the issue here today. And I don't quite understand why we need to protest to tell people that killing children is wrong.
We're here to support the Palestinian cause, and more so, we're here to raise some funds for the PSC, who have done a tremendous amount of work in bringing to light the atrocities that are being carried out by the Israeli regime against the innocent Palestinians. So we're selling some flags which are 100% donation. Part of the donation goes to Gaza Relief Aid, and the other part goes to funding the work that the PSC do.
They're in dire need of donations. Just basic necessities they are finding hard to get, and we're trying to do our bit by selling these flags to raise awareness and make sure the donations reach the correct hands and the people.
Brick by brick, wall by wall, Israeli apartheid's going to fall.
Would it be fair to say that people in Britain and around the world don't really know what's going on in Palestine?
I think people are increasingly becoming informed, but it's taken a long time for people to know. And obviously Britain had a responsibility to the way that Palestine was divided up in Israel in 1948. So Britain has responsibility, and it's important that British people know the consequences of the actions that happened way back then.
I haven't seen any sort of fair reporting from the BBC. It's always been controversial. They've not really mentioned the children who are dying and suffering because of the situation out there in Gaza.
And how long do you think the ceasefire might last?
I believe it didn't even last 24 hours. There were rubber bullets fired into the Masjid al-Aqsa literally within 24 hours. I don't think this ceasefire has even lasted. I think it was just said to keep the crowd and everyone quiet.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Occupation no more.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Israel is a terrorist state.
Let's have a huge round of applause for the Palestinians who are fighting for their homeland, fighting for freedom, fighting to end Israeli apartheid. Thank you so much.
Boris Johnson, what are you doing? What are you doing? We're going to need you to get up and take some action. We, the people of Manchester, are urging you to take action.
Boris Johnson, shame on you as well. You need to learn and understand, have sympathy towards the kids that are being killed in Gaza, the kids that are being killed in Jerusalem, the kids that are being killed all over Palestine. You need to have some shame and some sympathy.
There have been some very brave, mostly young activists who have occupied Israeli arms factory Elbit's 10 sites across this country. Let's hear it for Palestine.
A ceasefire doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything, and of course it's going to carry on. There's going to be more ceasefires until there's no way to stop it, really.
There has been no ceasefire. It's just to shut everyone up. It's to shut these protests down. It's to shut all the social media campaigns and posts coming out there.
The ceasefire doesn't mean we should stop our fight. Palestinians are still being murdered every single day. They are still being violently assaulted and forced out of their homes. Not only is Sheikh Jarrah under threat, but Silwan is too. They don't have people in Gaza. 97% of Gaza's drinking water is unfit for human consumption. The UN predicted that it'd be unlivable by 2020. Do you understand how terrible the conditions have to be for you to declare a state will not be alive anymore? The siege has not ended. People are homeless. Children are being made into orphans. People can't receive treatment for illnesses, including cancer. They cannot travel abroad and we can't visit them. 90,000 people were displaced. 250 were murdered. We cannot let their deaths go in vain. We want the BBC to look, to listen, to pay attention and to report the truth. So today we're going to make them pay attention. We're going to march around their offices with our flags, our signs, our banners, and force them to watch.
Israel has every right to stand. It's not like it's just the Jews that just went over the land and just took over. The Jews was always in the land. Who controlled the land before there was a Jewish state there? It was the British Empire. Who controlled the British Empire before the British Empire? The Ottoman Empire. You know, the Ottoman Empire was at war with itself, with the other Arabs, because you have the Sunnis and you have the Shiites, all divided against each other. But in the end, the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, who was supported by the British, he went against the British and he went with Hitler and sided with Hitler, where Hitler said, you know, we will agree with you. And it was him where a lot of the anti-Semitic talks came from, when the Muslims were saying it was good that Hitler was about, that he killed the Jews. So this is well documented. But in 1948, it was known that there could be two states, Palestine and Israel. The Muslims said no, the Arab world said no, the Jews said yeah, and they had to fight for that land. It wasn't like they had to, like, it was given them. America didn't help them, or Britain, because it was actually the IRA that actually taught the Zionists how to make explosions, and they actually blew up the British to get them out.
Biden, stop funding Israel. What are you doing? You're killing children, and American tax dollars are going to what? Killing children. What are you doing?
Biden, the same thing. Every leader, these are all war leaders.
Get informed, meet Palestinians, understand what's happening, so that eventually the Palestinians will have justice. But
do you think the BBC have told the truth about what's going on in Palestine?
No, I watched Newsnight last week, and it was appalling, the coverage. They covered the demonstrations that have been happening and didn't cover the support at all. They covered, it was just so unfair. So no, I think the BBC has a responsibility to report fairly and accurately.
Have you got a message for the BBC?
You need to talk about that, because we will keep coming here. We will keep coming until you don't say what the truth is.
Please support our Palestinian brothers and sisters. They're in need of our help. Everyone's trying to do their part. Please come and support us. Come
BBC do a terrible job.
They're not doing as much as they should. They need to Palestine. They're mainstream and they're not doing anything. Free Palestine!
Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
So is this a tremendous demonstration? Let's give ourselves a round of applause for being here yet again to protest in support of Palestine. And have a look at that big banner over there. That's what the BBC stands for. Biased Broadcasting Corporation, BBC.
When Winston Churchill left office, his next predecessor was against Israel, so the Zionists had no choice but to say, you know what, we're going to have a Jewish homeland or not. So they had to get rid of the British, and the IRA, which were a lot of them were British soldiers now who lived in Palestine, actually supported the Jews. They understood the right for a homeland, so they stood for them, and in the end the Americans left, so the Jews are left helpless, defenseless against all of the Muslim empire. You've got Egypt, Syria.
Yeah, just to say, I mean, I don't know a lot about this. You obviously know a little bit more about it than me. And because I'm learning about this slowly, obviously I take your information to be what it is. I just want to ask you, is there any way forward for Palestine and Israel to go forward?
Yeah. If you ever watched the documentary, The Son of Hamas, he is the son of one of the founders of Hamas, and he said that he worked for an Israel agent for 5 years, and he begged the news team the other night. He said, look, I've done everything for you, but I need to see my mother. She's never even left the area of Gaza, she's never even drove, but she's my mum, she's sent there. I don't agree with what Hamas do. They say that we're defending the people. They said, no, they're not, they're killing the people.
Palestinians have been together saying, we resist. And our role is to support your resistance.
You can see there are lots of people here, but I'm sure Manchester can do more. and the world can do more. And please, please, please come out and talk for your brothers and sisters who are being oppressed.
When they call the elected government of Gaza terrorists who seized control in 2006, I would like to call Boris Johnson a terrorist who seized control in 2019. Who are the terrorists? Who is bombing Yemen? Who is bombing Gaza? Who are the terrorists? And BBC, you give cover to the terrorists and you oppress the anti-racists. We are the anti-racists.
Israel are a developing country, right? They're developing, right? But you see what it is the Hamas don't want this. They want war. Now it comes down to, but if you believe in the Bible, right? Israel has to exist, because if you believe in the Bible about World War III, end of days, don't mean literally the end of the days. Israel has to exist no matter what. A lot of the Christians believe that by building the temple, they're giving the Jewish people the right of their independence, but at the same time, they want Jesus to come back, because the only way Jesus could come back is when the temple is built, and that's on their tradition, also Muslim tradition. So no matter what, we have to support Israel if it's biblically, because prophecy's got to come through, right? Also, if it's moral, where you're saying, well, you know what, Israel's actually, they support gay rights, they support freedom, they do women's rights, where a lot of the people in Muslim countries actually have gone to Israel and lived there. They actually have IDF soldiers who are Muslim. You know, you've got to go forward. Saudi Arabia and other Muslim countries sided with Israel. They're at war now with Iran. Saudi Arabia came to Israel saying, we need your help.
So would you say the BBC are just misreporting this situation?
Absolutely, absolutely. They've not reported fairly at all, and I have no trust in them to report fairly as well.
And your response to the BBC, what would that be?
The narrative that they push, that Palestinians' children die, Palestinian children die, and Israelis are killed, that's shocking. I mean, it's there clearly for everyone to see. The fact that they can do so without no shame, no apology has come for them statements, which were read from them, telegrams from the news reporters. They have total control over the information which they disseminate, and the fact that they have done so without an apology, with such a backlash, shows that they are clearly on the side of the Israeli regime and their atrocities, and they're standing by them along with their genocide. And they put their stall out and showed us their true feelings and their true attitude towards the Palestinian people.
Just take a knee and let us just have a moment. Let's just have a moment in solidarity. Thank you. Black Lives Matter, Palestinian Lives Matter. And when Palestine is free, the world will be free. And we are here for the Palestinians, let's say. And we are here for all the Palestinians around the world, 7 million international refugees, for the right to return all Palestinians. And we have had a stupendous display of Palestinian unity. We have had all the Palestinians of Gaza, of Jerusalem, of Israel, of around the world, the refugee camps, everywhere.
In every war, people are going to be victims, and I don't wish bloodshed on anybody. But on this note, Israel's been around a long time now. Who started this with the firing rockets? Hamas. Where did the funding come from? Iran. Iran says they want a nuclear weapon. What's that for? Peace reasons. No, they want to destroy the Jewish people. Because the Jewish people, this is our land, we've only got one land. And at the end of the day, we have a right to defend the state of Israel, you know? People, if you go to a museum, Museums are full of history of people dying. You know, that's mankind for you. But at the end of the day, we have a right to defend.
Jerusalem is the capital of? Jerusalem is a capital of? What is the capital city of Palestine? What is the capital city of Palestine? Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! 1, 2, 3, 4! Occupation no more! 5, 6, 7, 8! Israel is a terrorist state! Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! For everyone here, we need to make a big noise about it. Viva, viva! Palestina! 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 الروح قدام نفديك يا أقصى! الروح قدام نفديك يا أقصى! الروح قدام نفديك يا أقصى! بالروح بالدم نفديك يا أقصى. وسع وسع. Palestine will be free. Palestine will be free. Free, free. Palestine. Free, free. Palestine. Free, free. Palestine. 1, 2, 3, 4. Occupation no more. Israel is a terrorist state. Palestine. Palestine. Palestine will be free.
Palestine will be free.
Palestine will be free. Palestine will be free. Palestine. Palestine will be free.
That was speed running our way.
Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. Palestine will be free. Palestine! 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 Occupation no more! Israel is a terrorist state! Occupation no more! Israel is a terrorist state!
Palestine.
Israel is a terrorist state! Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free! Palestine! 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 Palestine!
Dana, لا ما راح
BBC, shame on you!
BBC, shame on you!
BBC, shame on you! BBC, shame on you! Palestine! 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 Palestine!
Palestine! I got your flag.
Occupation no more! 6, 7, 8! Israel is a terrorist state! Occupation no more! 5, 6, 7, 8! Israel is a terrorist state! 1,
free! Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free! From the river to the sea! Palestine will be free!
5, 6, 7, 8!
Israel is a terrorist state! Occupation no more! Israel is a terrorist state! Occupation no more! Israel is a terrorist state! Occupation no more! Israel is a terrorist state!
Shame on you!
BBC, shame on you!
BBC, shame on you!
Boris Johnson, shame on you!
Boris Johnson, shame on you!
What do you want?
Freedom!
What do you want it?
Now!
I can't hear you guys. What do you want?
Freedom!
What do you want it?
Now!
What do you want?
Freedom!
What do you want it?
Now!
Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
What do you want?
Freedom!
What do you want it?
No!
What do you want?
Freedom!
What do you want it?
Now!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace.
BBC, shame on you!
BBC, shame on you.
Occupation no more! 4, 6, 7, 8! Israel is a terrorist state! Palestine! 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 Palestina! Palestina! Palestina!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine!
1, 2, 3, 4!
Occupation no more!
5, 6, 7, 8!
Israel is a terrorist state!
Free, free!
Palestine!
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 From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
1, 2, 3, 4!
Occupation no more!
5, 6, 7, 8!
Israel is a terrorist state!
1, 2, 3, 4!
Occupation no more!
5, 6, 7, 8!
Israel is a terrorist state!
Okay, currently they're walking across the bridges, demonstrating around Media City and the BBC, because the BBC are not reporting accurately, as they say.